Lentils might seem like an unlikely candidate for a brain health discussion, but they actually offer several properties relevant to NAD plus metabolism and overall cognitive function, primarily through their effects on metabolic stability rather than any direct neuroprotective compounds. Let's examine what lentils bring to the table and where the science leads us. Lentils are legumes that provide plant-based protein, complex carbohydrates with a low glycemic index, significant fiber, and various B vitamins, including small amounts of niacin. The combination of protein, fiber, and slow-digesting carbohydrates creates remarkably stable blood sugar responses. This metabolic stability is more relevant to brain health than most people appreciate. The brain requires consistent glucose supply. It consumes about 20% of the body's energy despite being only 2% of body weight. When blood sugar fluctuates dramatically, as happens with refined carbohydrates and sugars, it creates metabolic stress. Cells activate stress response pathways that consume NAD+ rapidly. Over time, this pattern contributes to metabolic dysfunction, inflammation, and insulin resistance, all of which are increasingly recognized as risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. By providing steady glucose release, lentils help maintain metabolic equilibrium. This reduces the cellular stress that depletes NAD+ and supports the brain's constant energy demands without the crashes and spikes that damage cellular systems. The fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, supporting gut health and reducing systemic inflammation through the gut-brain axis. The B vitamins in lentils, including niacin, support NAD+ synthesis, though lentils aren't a particularly concentrated source. The combination of nutrients, protein for amino acids, B vitamins as cofactors, and steady energy creates an overall metabolic environment conducive to maintaining NAD+ balance. Lentils are also incredibly practical. They're inexpensive, shelf-stable, easy to prepare, and versatile in various cuisines. They're accessible to people across different economic situations, unlike some of the more expensive brain health foods. This democratization of nutrition is important. If brain-healthy eating requires exotic, expensive ingredients, it's not viable for most people. However, let's discuss some limitations and concerns. First, legumes including lentils contain anti-nutrients like phytic acid and lectins. While these compounds have been demonized in some dietary circles, the concern is largely overblown for most people. Soaking and cooking lentils adequately reduces these compounds to levels that aren't problematic for individuals with healthy digestive systems. For people with sensitive digestion or certain gut conditions, legumes can cause gas, bloating, and discomfort, making them inappropriate despite nutritional benefits. Second, lentils alone don't provide complete protein. They're low in methionine, though combining them with grains throughout the day provides all essential amino acids. This isn't really a problem in varied diets, but might matter for people relying heavily on single foods. Third, there's essentially no specific research connecting lentil consumption to Alzheimer's outcomes. What we have is research on legume consumption generally, which tends to associate with better metabolic health and cardiovascular outcomes, and research on dietary patterns like the Mediterranean diet that include legumes as components. But isolating lentils specifically as protective for cognition would be impossible and hasn't been attempted. The environmental footprint of lentils is actually quite favorable. They're nitrogen-fixing plants that improve soil quality, require less water than many crops, and have lower greenhouse gas emissions than animal proteins. For people considering environmental sustainability alongside personal health, lentils are an excellent choice. From a practical standpoint, including lentils several times weekly as a protein and carbohydrate source makes sense for most people. They can be added to soups, salads, curries, or eaten as side dishes. Different lentil varieties, red, green, brown, black, offer variety in flavor and texture. But don't feel compelled to eat lentils if they cause digestive distress or you simply don't like them. Other legumes like beans, chickpeas, or peas offer similar benefits, and if legumes in general don't work for you, there are many other ways to achieve stable blood sugar through whole grains, vegetables, and balanced meals. The key takeaway is that lentils contribute to brain health indirectly through metabolic stability and gut health rather than through any direct neuroprotective mechanism. They're a supporting player in an overall healthy dietary pattern, particularly valuable for their practicality, affordability, and sustainability. For brain health, maintaining stable metabolism matters greatly, and lentils excel at supporting that goal.